Good morning. What a pleasure it is for me today to be able to stand up here and welcome everybody back to Term 3 at Cobram Anglican Grammar as your new principal. So my name is Mr. Keith Willard, and as I said, I'm delighted and I'm very pleased to be principal of this fine school. I trust everybody's had a relaxing break over the holidays, that everyone's returning to school full of energy and excitement to meet the challenges and all the opportunities that are going to exist for us throughout Term 3 and Term 4. Now, before I go on to say a few other things, I'd just like to introduce Ms. Doyle and Katana, and these two fine people are going to lead us in a prayer to commence Term 3. Thanks, Ms. Doyle. Thanks, Katana.
God of infinite mercy, who created us for and from love, in this time of social distancing, hold us close in your arms. Comfort those who are afraid, and give courage to those who are distressed, and warm those who feel the cold touch of loneliness.
We thank you for all those who have dedicated their lives to serving our community during this time. Our healthcare workers, our doctors, nurses and paramedics. Give them wisdom, skill and patience in their work, and by your grace, give them success in their endeavours. We pray for those who govern us at this time, for their courageous leadership. Grant them wisdom in their decisions as they navigate the threats to lives and livelihoods. We also pray for our police force and our Defence Force personnel as they seek to maintain order in our community. May we respect their work, accept the limitations on our freedoms, and seek the welfare of others for the good of all. We pray for ourselves, our families, our community, especially those who have lost loved ones to the virus or those suffering from its effects. We also pray for those in our community who have been touched by tragedy in recent times. In this time of sadness and grief, we pray that they may know your presence in the stillness of the day and through the love of friends who offer their condolence. In the darker moments, may they reach out to hold your hand and feel the warmth of your compassion and love. In this time of bewilderment and fear, we ask you to give us courage to take care of one another, just as Jesus did. In the midst of the struggle to ensure a healthy future for all of us who live on this planet, may we know the peace that passes understanding as we place our trust in you. We trust in you and your power working in us. Please hear and answer our prayers. Amen.
Thanks, Katana, and thanks, Ms. Doyle. Look, I'm not going to say too much this morning, just a few things to get us started. Obviously, everybody would have heard over this last 3 weeks lots of information around COVID-19, and I think we all understand that across our wider community, COVID-19 has been very frustrating and it's been very inconvenient for a lot of people in a lot of different ways. But today at CAGS, we're lucky enough to be back at school in the same manner that we finished Term 2. And there's a couple of additions to that. One of the things that I'm happy to be able to say is that our canteen's back in full operation. So that means that people can come to school, they can make their lunch orders, but they can also access the canteen during recess and lunchtime. Really important though, at recess and lunchtime, we're really conscious of those rules of engagement around physical distancing. So we just need to be respectful of people's personal space and just be mindful of the COVID requirements in that area. The other thing that I'd like to remind people to do is to be very conscious around personal hygiene. You will note that we've got many stations around the school where people can access sanitizer. You simply cannot wash your hands too often. So one of the things I'm going to be looking for in these first few days is looking out for young people going around their business, enjoying their school day, but making sure that we're following those basic rules around physical distancing and keeping our hands as clean and sanitised as we possibly can. The other thing that will change a little bit for us, and I'm not used to this, you fine folk will be, and that is that we no longer have our 30-minute homeroom time at the commencement of each day. I think that was something that was put in place late last term. So we're going back to what we would call our normal timetable as it was pre-COVID throughout term 1. Now, I guess I need to ask your homeroom teachers just to explain to you all what that will mean. Now, I do want to just say a couple of little things around some expectations that I have for our school as new principal. They're pretty basic, they're not that complicated, but I think they're really important. But before I do that, what I would really like to do is ask our heads of school just to come forward to the microphone and say good morning to their respective sub-schools, but also the school in its entirety. So with that, I'd just like to invite Ms. Swaffer to come forward and say good morning. Thank you.
Good morning everyone at Cobram Anglican Grammar School, and this morning we welcome a number of new students across the school. But I'd like to warmly welcome Heidi into our 1-2R class. I met you this morning, Heidi, and I'm sure you're going to have a fabulous day and already making some new friends. So a very warm welcome to you all. The junior school are very much encouraged to use the brown paper bag in regards to the canteen. So very much ask our families to please get on board, and if your child is going to have a lunch order or any treats from the canteen, order that through the brown paper bag. It will get taken up to the canteen. And then junior school are very lucky, they get Uber Eats and their food will arrive to door at lunchtime. They don't need to queue up at the canteen. This will certainly help us during this COVID time with social distancing. So if our junior school parents could please take on board the offer to get as many orders as we can through the brown paper bags, that would be great. I'm really looking forward to a wonderful term 3. I encourage everyone just to take a deep breath during these uncertain times and trust the leadership at the school and the leadership across the state. We will be okay, we will get through, and we're all here to support one another. So I'd like to welcome Mr. Watkins up to the stand.
Thank you, Mrs. Swaffer. Firstly, I'd like to welcome everyone back to CAGS this year, and in particular the middle school. It was fantastic this morning to see so many kids in their uniform with their ties on. It's really important that we look as best we possibly can, and our uniform is fantastic. So it was great to see that this morning. This term we've got plenty of new kids in the middle school. We've got 4 grade 5-6ers starting and a couple in year 8. So if you see a new student around, please make the effort to say hello. The CAGS way is to make everyone feel welcome, and we're extremely good at that. So I encourage you to make the new students feel welcome. First day back, I encourage everyone to enjoy the day, respect your teachers, respect each other, and remember it's cool to be smart. Thank you. I just would like to welcome Mr. Kennedy to the stage.
Good morning everyone, and particularly senior school, welcome back. I'm very pleased to have you back on campus, and hopefully you are feeling rested after your break. This, as you know, is a relatively short term, so it's actually a great opportunity under the current circumstances, perhaps to set aside some of those social obligations that you might have otherwise had and really knuckle down for what will be, for the VCE students in particular, and those in year 12, the first few weeks of what remains of only 3 months of schooling for you guys. So really good opportunity to take this and make it an advantage for you guys, to knuckle down and to really put some hard work into your study. You would have received your reports over the school holidays. For some of you that might have been a little bit of a shock, and it might have been an indication that perhaps what you were doing wasn't going to lead to academic success. So it's a new semester. For some of you it's a new unit. We start unit 4. Let's look at this as a new start and a new page for you guys, and let's really come home strong for what remains of the school year. So I really look forward to catching up with you all over the next week or so, and enjoy the rest of your day. That's all from me, and I'll welcome Mr. Willett back to the podium.
Thanks, Mr. Kennedy, and Mr. Watkins, and Mr. Doyle. Just a couple of things from me to finish up with. 3 things actually. First thing I want everybody to know is that I vote for Melbourne in the AFL, so that's pretty important. So if people want to get on well with me, they say good things about Melbourne, that's important. The next thing I'd like to just remind people of is, and Mr. Watkins has touched upon this, about welcoming people to the school. And I've been very fortunate, I think, in my first few days at CAGS to have been the recipient of a wonderful welcome. Certainly the staff that I've met to this point have been wonderful, and the few young people I've had conversations with have been wonderful as well. So I really appreciate the welcome that I've had, but we need to continue to work on that. And so I'm asking a favour of everybody in the school, and it is to make sure you come and say hello to me, and we get to know each other as soon as we can and as well as we can. Please don't feel afraid to come up and say good day. In addition to that, if there's any students out there who think they'd like to have a quiet conversation with your principal, my office door is always open. Just come to the office to admin, see if you can find a time to see Mr. Willett, and we'll make sure that that happens. So I really do appreciate the welcome that I've had to this point, but we need to continue to work on that as we get to know each other. The other thing I'd like to touch upon, and Mr. Watkins mentioned this as well, this morning when I was wandering around, having just starting to get to know people, I too was really impressed by our uniform. I thought the young people that I saw today looked fabulous, and that's really important because the way we present ourselves in public, at school, but also outside of school, speaks volumes about our school. It's very, very important that we look as good as we possibly can, and from what I saw today, that was terrific. So really pleased to see those standards today, and I'm looking forward to those being maintained. Finally from me, I have a little slogan or catch cry or phrase that I would like us to think about in my time here as principal. And that is, if I was to talk about my main expectation for all of our CAGS community, that's our students and our staff and our parents and our families and our bus drivers and all the people who are part of our community, my phrase is to be the best you can be. And that means different things for every single one of us. But that's my phrase for you to think about, to be the best you can be. So whether that's in your classroom, with your studies and your academic pursuits, be the best you can be. With your uniform, we've already mentioned that. Be the best you can be with your uniform. With your relationships, friendship groups, your relationships with staff and your family, friends at home, be the best you can be. Be the best friend you can be. And that's really important, particularly in times like this, when there's a little bit of uncertainty around things like COVID-19. And even away from school, I'll be really interested and delighted to hear stories of young people who, in their pursuit of interests and their hobbies and their sports on weekends, that they are being the best that they can be. So that's it from me for today. Have a great day. I'm really looking forward to getting out at recess and lunchtime and continuing to meet people. Remember our physical distancing and our hygiene with COVID-19. So have a great day, have a great term, and remember from me, be the best you can be. Good morning and